Hi, I'm Reg Goslin on Monday, the 26th of August. Here we go. Okay. I need to share something with you in a second. I'll get that up in a second. Reg Goslin from Improving Performance. I just want to see my face to know that this is live. This is me. I'm just doing this on a Monday evening. I know it's bank holiday, which means most of the United Kingdom are out for the day. But I thought I'd continue doing it anyway because I am recording this session and then I'll stick it onto the website later. So let me just get this up so that you can see what it is that we're doing here. Here we are. Right. So, perfect. It worked this week. Fantastic. Okay, I'm Reg Goslin from Improving Performance. I'm a performance development practitioner, and I work with people with regards to supporting them on their career advance and development, as it says on the tin. Now, in terms of me being a personal development practitioner, I work with people across the spectrum of age groups. I know we call them the demographics, and there are 5 different specific types across the demographic at the moment. You've got the baby boomers who are born around the early 40s or the mid 40s to the early 60s. I think I scraped in just about with the Generation X, and those are the people born around 1964 to 80. I'm just a smidgen before that, but I choose where I want to sit. Then you've got the Xennials, then you've got the much talked about and discussed the Millennials, who are born around 1980 to 1994. They're coming up to their 40s at the moment. And then you've got Generation Z, who are now in the workplace. I don't know what they're going to call the people that are graduating now, but that's who they are. The reason I give you that is because it's context about what I'm doing and how I do some of the things I do. And most weeks I do this, it is based on Generation X and the Millennials. Just to give you a quick introduction to coaching as a process, this is for people that want career development, people that are looking for investing in themselves for their own personal development. Those people that are unsure of what coaching actually is and what the benefit of having a coach will give to them. And it's also for those people that not quite sure what it is and want a specific taster, and they can get it through these programs. It won't be today, but generally speaking, that's what happens. It's also for people who are seeking career change or career development. There are lots of people coming back into the workplace because they've taken some time out, and there are many reasons why people would take time out of the workplace and then come back. They could have been looking after an elderly parent. They might have gone away to bring up children. They might have taken a sabbatical. Lots and lots of reasons why people will take time out and then want to get back in. There are people as well that are feeling unchallenged in the roles that they have, and they are looking for that bit of inspiration, that kick up the backside that helps them to move forward within the business that they're working for or outside of it. Like I said, it could be for career change. And finally, for those people who might not necessarily have the resource to work with a personal development practitioner such as myself on a one-to-one basis because they might not have the resources or something. There's lots of reasons for that as well. When I do these sessions bi-weekly, they happen bi-weekly, and this is the 10th one and the last one of this particular cycle. I start a new cycle in September, but this is the first. I don't want to call it a course, but it's the last one of this specific course. And generally speaking, you will come onto it. You come on, I'll ask lots and lots of questions like I do. You have a pen and paper. You're somewhere where it's nice and quiet, where you won't be interrupted. And it tends to be one way until I open it up and it becomes interactive. If you've got questions, you can ask them in the questions box. And if I have time, I will answer them this evening, or I will do a live if there's enough of them on Thursday. I tend to do that for about 10 minutes on Thursday. Or you can post them in your questions in the Generation X and the Career Advance and Development group pages that are on the Facebook web page. I try to take it off of Facebook Live, for instance, because not everybody's on Facebook. So this is why I do it on Zoom and then put it onto the website via my YouTube page. Every session has a topic which I do tend to circulate in advance, and tonight's is Manager, Leader, Boss. And I picked this one, which is totally different to what I normally do, because obviously there are people out there that are in positions of people management, if you like, or leadership posts or direction setting. So what I thought I would do is just touch on a few areas there that might be able to help people moving forward. My aim is for this to be a subscription service, not yet obviously, but I'd like it to grow into something that's a subscription service, and it won't take more than 40 minutes. I'm aiming for half an hour, but it wouldn't take more than 40 minutes. Anything longer than that, and people do tend to lose their concentration. So let's get started. The objectives of tonight for this specific manager, leader, boss is that by the end of this session, you'll be able to have a clear idea of what and how the roles differ, the role of a manager, the role of a leader, and the role of a boss, what's different about them. You'll understand what the qualities are required for each specific role. You will be able to understand where you are as an individual if you are a people manager in any way, shape or form. You will understand where you are with regards to being a manager or a leader or a boss, or what your preference style is. And you'll be able to understand what is required to be an effective decision maker. Okay, so manager, leader, boss. There are different verticals and different lines of business that are kind of industry specific or sector it's specific. And that's why in corporate world, they call them verticals. Outside of corporate worlds, they might call them sectors. And just to give you a flavor of the kind of thing we're talking about here, we're talking about the travel sector, the finance sector, the telecom sector, which is my background, the retail, banking, manufacturing. There are lots and lots of sectors. So it depends on where you see yourself. Doesn't really matter in regards of where you see yourself, but it just gives you a flavor of the type of leaders and decision makers that you'll get in these areas. And there are, within those businesses, whether they're very small businesses or large corporate businesses, there are different types of organizational process that you have to follow. And in following those processes, that's when it determines what kind of decision-making process and what type of people manager, leader or boss is required in that specific role. The role of a decision maker, just to put a hat on that in this specific context, I'm talking about people that are people managers. They could be product managers. They provide direction. They motivate people in the workplace. They provide the goal setting for the business. They provide the measurement of the processes and the successes and the results that you're looking for within the business. And they also do performance management. A lot of that now is falling more and more further down the chain. I hate using the word chain, but down the hierarchical structure of a business. That tends to fall now on the line manager, and then is managed back up the business to make decisions, whether they're positive or negative. But tonight, this is about you, not the business. This is about you as an individual. What kind of manager are you? What kind of leader are you? And what kind of boss? Are you one? Are you two? Or are you all three? Or are you none? Which way do you want to work with that one? So this is about you. So the first one, let's look at the manager. Can't believe how hot it is today, but I'm not going to complain. It's not winter, so I'm happy. What kind of manager are you? Well, a manager controls a team. They tend to work with a team, a small team or a large team or several teams, depending on where they are in that hierarchical structure. They set and achieve goals. They set and achieve objectives that need to be met. And generally speaking, and more, they are adopting a coaching style of management. One of the other responsibilities that they have is that they ensure the daily function of the department, channel, operation employees. So the employees that are working within that function, they have to be working towards achieving the goals, and they manage the individuals. And that's what we mean by the people management. And that's at a top level, ensuring the daily function of the employees. They can also, and they often do, provide direction for the employees and the direct reports, and making sure that they work within the procedures of the business. And so those procedures will have been acknowledged, written down, defined, so that everybody knows what they're actually working to. There are also policies within small business, medium business, and large enterprises that need to be followed. ISO policies, safety policies, you name those policies, they have to be met and managed. And at the end of the day, there was a phrase that scared the hell out of me back in the day when health and safety was launched in the workplace, and it was about being reasonably practicable. So everybody's reasonably practicable for other people within the business. So there are going to be policies in place to make sure that you have to work to those. And now more than ever as well, managers further down the hierarchical chain are now responsible for achieving the strategic vision. And we'll talk about that with regards to the leaders in a second. And managers as well, dependent on where they are in that hierarchy, are also responsible for recruitment and recruitment of individuals. And that's the hiring, the releasing, that's a more positive term, releasing, the training and education of people coming into the enterprise or the business, and the development of people. It costs more to recruit somebody into a business than it does to develop the ones that you've actually got. So there's more and more that's being seen now, that people are developing the talent that they've got within their business to make sure that they retain that talent. And managers are involved with goal setting, and that's the short, medium and long-term goals that a business has to achieve its objectives and its results. So the short terms are more the tactical goals and actions that are going to be put in place to help to achieve those results. And then you've got the more strategic, medium and long-term results to work for. And managers now, again, more and more, especially with the advent of social media, like this kind of call this evening, that you see it all the time now, that people are looking to invest in themselves, even if it doesn't cost them anything but their time, to look at ways that they can improve the skill set that they've got. But in doing so, they're also demonstrating the leadership that they've got and understanding how they can make those small hacks and tips to help them to be more effective in the workplace. And even in that in vain, they're actually demonstrating leadership in their own specific avenue as well. So what we're looking about the qualities and the positive qualities of a manager. Now that, as I said earlier on, and I keep saying about the hierarchical structure, but they could be line managers working with direct reports, and then further up the chain, depending on the type of business. If it's a big business, then they have different qualities. But positive qualities that you'd look for in a people or this people manager or an effective decision maker is experience. It's very, very difficult to take on the role of a manager in an enterprise or a business if you don't have the experience. You'd have to have the experience of working with the processes within that business. Managing people is very, very important. I have seen in my time a lot of people thrown in, and they do have to be thrown in at some stage to become a people manager, because if you're managing people, you have to start somewhere, but it's ideal that you have some experience to work with. Communications is vital in management, absolutely imperative. You have to know your people and how to communicate with them to get the best out of them, because not every single individual in the business is the same. They're not all the same personalities. They don't all have the same trigger points. So you have to know and acknowledge how to talk to people and engage with people to get the best out of them. I did something on that, I think right at the beginning, 1 or 2, and that was all to do with communication styles and preferences. And I'm happy to talk to anybody one-to-one on that one afterwards. Time management and organizational skills are required to be an effective manager, and they have to be reliable. There's nothing worse than an unreliable manager. And as I mentioned just a minute ago, we're talking about the talent within the business. And it doesn't matter whether you're an administrator, it doesn't matter if you're a legal business, it doesn't matter if you're a scientific telecom software, it doesn't really matter. If you do not manage and develop the talent that you have, you will lose it and they will go elsewhere. So a manager has to find effective ways to keep the individual and the individuals motivated, inspired and effective and hungry to improve. And again, finally, they need to have the commitment on the project or the goal or the plan or the strategic vision of the business, because the owner, the managing director, the chairman, the CX oh, we'll give you a vision, and then that will be communicated down the business or across the business if it's a smaller business. But the manager, the decision maker or the people manager has to be able to be committed to that project, committed to achieving the goal and the strategic plan of the business. So let's come on to the leader. Who's the leader? Sorry, my throat had got there. A leader. What is a leader? A leader is someone, male, female, obviously, who will influence a group of people or an organization. They will motivate an organization, set the direction. What a leader does is creates a vision that the rest of the organization will be able to see, and they will enable that organization's people to contribute towards the organization's success. What they do is I don't know what the phrases they use, but they will paint, the metaphor is perhaps in a metaphor, so I'm going mad. The metaphor is that they will paint a picture of what they see, and they'll use that picture to inspire people to take the journey with them. That's how you inspire people to come along with you. We see a lot of that in society. We see a lot of that on the media. We see it on the news all of the time, where an individual or group of individuals try and work to inspire people to come along on the journey. And that's what effective leadership does. It's not the be all and end all of leadership, but it is certainly the beginning. They also are responsible for the delivery, managing the delivery of that specific vision that they have outlined, and they'll lead the people or the organization to deliver that vision. So they will start at the top with a strategy and an objective, and what they'll do is they'll manage that downwards to their own direct reports, and who will pick it up and look at the tactics that they will use, and then they'll build in all the associated actions to deliver that specific objective. So the qualities of a leader is they need to be inspiring. They need to be able to provide clarity for the picture that they've painted. There is no point in giving somebody a picture and not having any detail that sits behind it. So they will also be able to provide the headline detail so that you can be inspired and the clarity that you're looking for. As I said just now, they need to be decisive. They need to be able to put something in place, know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and who's going to deliver, so that everybody knows exactly what's going on. They need to have a creative mind. They don't have to be massively creative, but they must have some creativity to be able to build the picture they want everybody to see. They need to be innovative. I've seen lots of examples recently of innovative businesses, innovative business owners who come up with something that's leading in that specific vertical, in that sector that nobody else is doing, and they lead on it. And it's tough, but they do it, and then they're eventually seen as the first. They have to be strong communicators, because in order to get the message across, it needs to be effective. The communication style needs to be direct. It needs to paint the picture, as I said earlier on. And to paint that picture, the individual has to be a strong communicator. Now, boss. Now, that's an interesting one. I tried to be careful when I thought of this one, simply because in other parts of the country, I'm just look at the time, it's gone very quickly. In other parts of the world, a boss has a different connotation. So I'm thinking about the boss in the United Kingdom or in Europe. This is what a boss is. Also known as a supervisor. You can call them a supervisor, but this is a boss, okay? What a boss is a people manager. Absolutely. They're going to be in charge of people, but they're there to tell a group or a small group of people what to do. They're task orientated. It's all about one task, one objective, and they will deliver that one objective and nothing else. It's not an exact science, but generally speaking, it is one job that they will do and get delivered. It's productivity and the actions of a small group. I guess that's what I was trying to say to you. So they'll pull all that together and just deliver one objective. So they're responsible, as I said, for a single project, an operation or an outcome. And things that spring to mind in that area, things like a floor manager or a shift manager. So if you think about let me think, if you think of something like a fast food outlet like McDonald's, for instance. So if you imagine that a McDonald's is open for almost 20 hours a day. I would imagine it's not 24 hours yet, I don't think, but let's assume it's 20 hours a day from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight or something like that. What happens is that that manager or the boss has to come in and has to manage that specific shift. They have to make sure that they've got all the people coming in, managing all the different parts of the delivery, because at the end of the day, it's a customer-facing operation, but it's also a procurement operation. So by that, just to give you an idea, all businesses, no matter how small they are or how big they are, have three sides. They have the procurement side, or the buy side, which is where they bring in products and services on a white label, if you like. So if you use McDonald's again as an example, all of the stuff has to come in and get prepared, and they buy it in and they package it and they cook it and they get it to sell. The inside is about the managing, so that's the middle part of the business, and that's the people, managing the people, managing the processes, managing the resources, the stock, the whole lot is in the middle. And then you've got the sell side, and the sell side is where it's customer facing, and that's where the customers come in and you sell to the customers. So it's the buy side, the inside, and the sell side. That's something that I learned a long time ago, and that's always stuck with me. So that's why sometimes they have to be responsible for that project, and sometimes you need a boss who's gonna just bark instructions at individuals who will take instruction. It's task oriented, and they're responsible for delivering and orchestrating and controlling that one-off situation. Okay. The qualities of a boss, similar to a manager, but they need to have interactive communication skills. And the reason I put the word interactive in there is that they cannot be reactive. They have to be proactive with the engagement with the people within their sphere of influence, the direct reports, because they have to engage with them frequently. They have to be able to listen, they have to be able to engage, because if one thing falls down, the whole operation could be impacted. So they have to know what's going on at all times within the business or the enterprise. They have to demonstrate a lot of empathy with the people that they are managers for. They have to show a lot of compassion, because in these kinds of situations, there's a propensity for people to not so much be well, or it's usually younger people that are working within the business, and for lots of reasons, that's a hard thing to manage. Young people like to go out, young people have lives as well, but equally the business has to run. So they have to manage that with a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy, because things go on in people's lives. But it can't always be bad managers that shout and bark at people. But I'll talk about that for 10 seconds later on. They got to have a positive attitude when they come to work. Park the baggage at the front door. Park the bad news that's going on in your life at the front door. You have to come in and demonstrate a positive, can-do attitude. The reason that you have to do that, obvious as it sounds, is that if your people see you come in a bad mood, they're not going to be very productive. They're just going to keep their heads down and not engage. Whereas if you're in a positive, open door, positive attitude, can-do attitude, they're more likely to engage with you, and you're more likely to be more productive as a unit and subsequently as an enterprise. And displaying confidence, knowing what you're doing, knowing how you're doing it, knowing who you are doing it with, helps the people to see that you know what you're doing. And if you know what they're doing, they're more likely to come to you if they get stuck. I think I could have put the confidence together with demonstrating a positive attitude. And time and priority management, obvious as it sounds, but I learned a long, long time ago in this journey that I have, is just because I know something doesn't mean that everybody else knows it. Time and priority management are absolutely vital for any people manager, any person that manages processes, because time and priority management, you've got to be able to put things into a process and to be able to manage that on a priority basis, and that will require you to be demonstrating effective time management. I can't believe how hot it is. I am melting up in here. And I thought I'd add one as well. And I didn't really put it on here because it's not a manager, a leader, or a boss, but we do see a lot of those, especially in retail and in places like call centers, but something called a team leader. And the team leader guides a group or a team through one project, just one project. I call it a project, but it could be a task, it could be an operation, but for the purposes of this conversation, it's a project. They have no critical decision-making responsibility whatsoever. They're there to manage a task. So if you imagine the call center, their job is to make sure that everybody's on the phone, make sure that everybody's making the calls. I'm just using that as an example. There's lots of examples. I've seen it in retail outlets like Sports Direct, that you've got different team leaders. They are they are the important link as well between management and the people on the floor, for instance, because the management can't always get involved, especially when it's a fluid, high turnover kind of, or high impact kind of business. They can't always have, don't always have the time to be able to engage because they're working with clients, they're working with suppliers, they're working with the people on the floor as well. So you have a team leader to manage those small operations and use their motivation skills to be able to, and their knowledge to work with the individuals within their employ. So just to recap all of that for you, I've just done it as two rather than manager, leader, boss. I've just done it as two in terms of what is a leader and what is a manager. A leader is somebody who, as I said, creates a vision, creates a strategy. They create value. They provide inspiration and influence to the organization and the individuals. They tend to have people that follow them, because if you're a leader, then you're doing so because you want people to follow you, and you are a people-focused kind of person. You think on the top level of the organization. You don't get too much into the detail. The best leaders have the most charismatic style, and I'm sure you can all understand or imagine different types of leaders. I'm thinking of people like Barack Obama. Much as I dislike him, Tony Blair had a bit of charisma about him. They are risk and change seekers. In order to make the changes of an organization, they have to not be risk averse. If you think of people like Richard Branson and Sir Alan Sugar, Lord Sugar, they have to take risks sometimes, but they still paint the picture, and people do still follow them. They do set the direction, as I said. They raise expectations and they ask questions. And in the middle of that, if you've got both of those kinds of skills, you're there to accomplish a goal. It's great. You're there to explain the vision, as I said earlier on. And you can work and you can motivate people and mobilize the resources and move them back as and where you need to do them using your own leadership style. And then you've got the managers. And what kind of managers are there? What kind of managers are you? They manage policies and procedures, value. They like the power of being a manager, and they have the control. They have subordinates, as I've said. Don't like that word. I much prefer direct reports. They manage the work. They are work focused. Some have an authoritarian style. As I said earlier on, right at the beginning of this, a lot of managers now are adopting a coaching style because it's more effective. And that works for me if they're adopting a coaching style. They're risk averse because they've got rules they've got to work within, and it's their necks on the block if it goes wrong. So they tend not to take the kind of risks. They like the stability of the role, and they like the stability of the results that they're going to get. They tend to be reactive. Well, not all of them. A lot of them are very, very proactive. But again, that depends on the type of industry that you're in. If you're in the sales industry, being reactive is not going to help you. But in the software industry, being reactive to the demands of the of what the client wants can help you. They plan detail. They maintain the status quo within an organization dependent on the type of manager and the type of business, and they give direction. I nearly spent an hour pulling that bit together, and then I saw something online from a guy called Bill Quisang, and I'm not going to, not going to lie, I thought I would use his It's Much Easier, but I thought I'd reference him here and acknowledge that this diagram that's here is his work, so that's fine. So that's the difference between a manager and a leader. So I think we're almost out of time. Look at that. Wow. Where are you in this particular process? What type of decision maker are you? What kind of effective manager are you? Do you see yourself in all three? Do you see bits of yourself? Do you have different qualities for all three? or just two, or do you only have qualities in one of the areas? And if so, what skills do you need to develop to make you more well-rounded as an effective leader? What skills do you need? Drop me a line. I'm more than happy to help you with that and answer those questions with you for you. If you've got lots of questions, or if you have any questions, just drop me a line. I can't actually see any questions here at the moment because I'm on a bigger screen, but I'll have a look in a second. And failing that, drop me a line on the Facebook page that you'll see in a second. So that's the end of this demonstration. I said before, it is just me telling you something that might help you to become an effective and decision maker. And just to go over what group coaching was all about, as I said, just very quickly, it was for those people that want career development, people that are looking for investing in themselves as for their own personal development, for those people that are unsure of what coaching is and looking for what benefits it can give them, or are just looking for a taster. And for those people looking, seeking career change within the business that they're in or externally dependent. We've done lots of stuff on applications and CVs and climbing the ladder within your own business. We've talked about coming back into the work environment where lots of people are, and we've talked about being unchallenged in the workplace if you're bored and you're not feeling inspired in the job that you've got, and you really, really want to move on, but you're not getting what you're looking for the business, or you might not have the resources for a coaching relationship. The next step for people that want to step out of the group coaching, that's absolutely fine. The next step is one-to-one coaching. If you want to know more about that, just drop me a line at info@improvingperformance.co.uk. So if you want to engage on a one-to-one basis to help you to achieve the goals and results that you're looking for, there are 3 packages that you can work with for improving performance. First one is a gold package, which is a 3-month package. But I know that lots of people out there don't like to work on a weekly basis, because a 3-month package is generally around 12 one-to-one engagements over Zoom or Skype or face-to-face, dependent on where you are. And it can be stretched to 6-month plan, which is twice a month. So I have no issue with that. We have the silver 1-month plan. So however many times you want to work, but you want to do it in a shorter period, we can do that. And you can do it on an ad hoc basis, which is our bronze package, which is you call, I have the conversation on one-to-one. And there is a platinum one, which is a 2-day intensive for those people that have nothing called patience, but I'm more than happy to do that one. So the gold package, just for tonight, 3 to 6 month plan is 20% off the top 3 packages. So until tomorrow night, it's 2,400, 960, or £400. So it's the 3 to 6 month plan is 2,400. The 1 month plan is 960, and the ad hoc basis is 400. Okay, so if you want to take advantage of that, just send a email to me or to info@improvingperformance.co.uk and just stick the numbers, the letters IMPRPRF. That's short for improving performance. It's just some letters, but the reason I've done it that way is I'll know that it's come from this specific workshop. So it's IMPRPRF, and that's open until midnight tomorrow night, 27th of August. That, as I said, is pretty much what. Where's it gone? I've got to move this thing here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's it until the 9th of September, where we start with a new different program, which I'm working on with different content at the moment. If you want to contact, I'm on info@improvingperformance.co.uk, just to make sure I was right on the time. I have the 2 Facebook groups. So on the Facebook page, you've got obviously Improving Performance, but you've got the Generation X Career Advance and Development group, and you've got the Career Advance and Development group. One is for the Generation X and one is for everybody else. Same programs, but the messages are different because people are in different stages of their careers. You can contact me or have a look on our website, www.improvingperformance.co.uk. I'm also on Instagram at Improving Performance, and up until this week, I never felt the need to tell people, but somebody asked me yesterday from another group. I do have a YouTube channel. Yes, I do. And that's where all of these videos are. So hop along to the YouTube, that channel, and that's, you can just put Reg Gosling into YouTube and it will come up and you'll see improving performance, or you can put Reg Gosling improving performance. Okay, thank you very much for spending your valuable time listening to this. If you found it valuable, drop me a line. If not, drop me a line for ways to improve it. I try not to go over 30 minutes. I've gone over by about 5 minutes. So have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.